Very good evening to all our viewers. It is the 1st of April 2015. It's a brand new month and this is the news at 9 coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscourt.
A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo. Here's a look at your headlines tonight.
There is no need for a change in the position of opposition leader, a statement from the SLFP. Families of Sri Lankans stranded amid the conflict in Yemen clamour for their return. Soldier killed in an accident in Ratnapura New Town, 32 others injured. Sports Minister appeals for Kumar Sangakkara to return to the field.
The tradition of presenting the auspicious times for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year to the President took place at the President's house today.
In keeping with the ritual of drummers going from house to house to proclaim the auspicious time, a drummer presented the list of auspicious times to President Maithripala Sirisena today. The list includes the time of the dawn of the new year, the Punya Kalaya, the time to commence the cooking of food, lighting the stove and consuming food.
One person was killed and 32 others injured in a motor accident which took place in the Ratnapura New Town earlier this evening. Director of the Ratnapura General Hospital, Dr. Sampath Ranavira, said that 4 of the injured are in critical condition.
The accident occurred when an army truck and a passenger transport bus collided into each other. The private bus was travelling from Colombo to Monaragala, while the army truck was travelling from Ratnapura to Kuruvita when the two vehicles collided. The army truck is attached to the Gamanu Heba regiment in Kuruvita. The injured have been admitted to the Ratnapura General Hospital. Of the 4 critically injured, 1 has been transferred to the Colombo National Hospital, while the other 3 are receiving treatment at the intensive care unit of the Ratnapura General Hospital. The soldier was killed in the accident. The director of the Ratnapura General Hospital said that of the injured, 18 are army personnel and the other 14 are civilians.
In a developing story, the hearing of petitions filed over the draft 19th Amendment to the Constitution commenced at the Supreme Court today. The petitions are being taken up before a 3-member bench comprising of Chief Justice K. Sri Pavan and Justice Chandra Ekanaika and Priyasadam.
18 petitions have been filed at the Supreme Court over the 19th Amendment. The hearing commenced at 10 o'clock this morning and continued until 5:30 in the evening. A section of the petitioners argue that the 19th Amendment to the Constitution can be adopted with a 2/3 majority in Parliament. Another group of the petitioners argue that passage of the amendment would also require a public referendum. The Supreme Court will consider the matter tomorrow as well.
What is needed is to take the limitless powers vested in the President and transfer them to the Parliament headed by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet without holding a referendum. If we hold a referendum, it will take a long time. It is clear that if it takes that long, this will not be done.
The argument that I presented is that a referendum must be held. With the powers of the president, they will be able to harass individuals and constitutionally maintain even the weakest government for at least 4 years and 6 months without a majority. The other more dangerous factor is that the Sinhala, Tamil and English drafts of the amendment portray a completely different image. That is the first argument we put forward. Given the language problem, which one should we take up? The way I see it, this has not been done intelligently. There are major shortcomings as a result of rushing this through.
වේගවත්ව ශීඝ්‍රව නිම කිරීමට ගොහින් විශාල වශයෙන් අඩුපාඩුකම් තිබෙනවා.
Meanwhile, the stances of various political parties on the proposed 19th Amendment were highlighted at several media briefings held today.
ප්‍රධාන කරුණු ගණනාවකට අපි එකඟයි. ඒ වගේම සමහර කාරණා සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපිට එකඟ වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
We are in favor of several key points. At the same time, we are unable to agree with some of the content. We have maintained continuously that the 19th Amendment to the Constitution should also include amendments to the electoral system. We say this because by removing some of the powers of the executive president, we must take steps to maintain stability in Parliament. We will not for any reason abandon our support for His Excellency the President's 100-day program. Our views on the proposed amendment are open. We pledge our fullest support.
බොහොම විවෘතයි. අපි මේ පිළිබඳව සම්පූර්ණ සහාය දෙනවා.
ව්‍යවස්ථා කුමන්ත්‍රණ වලට ඉඩ දෙන්න බෑ. ඇති කරගන්න ඕනම සංශෝධනයක්.
We cannot allow constitutional conspiracies. Any amendment that is introduced should be introduced with consensus. We do not need a constitutional amendment that will fail or collapse in Parliament. We want something that all parties represented in Parliament can reach a broad-based agreement on. That would be the most appropriate draft. Maithripala Sirisena was selected president on the basis of this manifesto. It states clearly that a constitutional amendment that causes a public divide will not be introduced. Others cannot take over the mandate that has been given to Maithripala Sirisena.
ලැබිලා තියෙන ජනවර අන්සතු කරන්න බෑ.
සුළු පක්ෂවලත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා නැහැ.
Discussions have not been held with minority parties. We say to the elephant government that the three of us here worked as a party to form a new government and they are yet to hold discussions with us. Let alone discussions, they have not even met us after the victory. In the past, I remember that if he was going to Jaffna, Ranil Wickremesinghe could not go without the three of us. This was before the election. We even went for rallies during the election. After the victory, we have become invisible. This is how we are being treated under the good governance.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party has pointed out that there is no necessity to change the opposition leader. General Secretary of the SLFP, Honorable Priyadarshan Nayappa, explained the party's stance at a press conference convened today.
As the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, all I have to say is that there is no necessity to change Nimal Siripala de Silva, who was appointed as opposition leader by us. That is our stance.
Reporters question the General Secretary as to what steps will be taken against members who participated in the rally in Ratnapura.
I will not speak a word about it. We are members who stand for the unity within the party. As General Secretary of the party, I feel it is our responsibility to unite all the party members. As General Secretary, whatever I say or do is only with the approval of the Central Committee. I cannot say anything that goes beyond that decision.
Journalists also questioned on the UPFA.
මට කරන්න තියෙන ඉල්ලීම තියෙන්නේ අපි එළබෙන මැතිවරණය ලබන අප්‍රේල් වලට පෙර මේ අප්‍රේල් නෙමෙයි ඊළඟ අප්‍රේල් වලට පෙර තියෙන
At the upcoming parliamentary elections, not this April, but any election held before next April, we can achieve victory if we work together as an alliance. Our target at the upcoming parliamentary election is to acquire a majority of parliament power for the UPFA.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු බලයේ ඒකාන්තර බහුතරයක් එක්සත් ජනතා නිදහස් සන්ධානයට ලබා දෙනවා.
The case pertaining to the abductions of 28 persons, including 11 schoolboys in Colombo and surrounding areas several years ago, was taken up at the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court today as well. Court rejected the request made by one of the accused in the case, former Navy media spokesperson Captain DKP Dasanaika, to travel overseas, as the court had not been informed if the Navy commander was in agreement.
Families of the 28, including the school children who were abducted in 2008 and 2009 in Colombo and the surrounding areas, appeared in court today as well. They are seeking definitive information on the fate and whereabouts of their kin. While former Navy media spokesperson Captain DKP Dasanaika has appeared in court in connection with the case on several prior occasions, it was ordered that he be banned from overseas travel. While he later filed a motion requesting permission to travel overseas for duty, the court noted that it could be permitted with the approval of the Navy commander. Accordingly, the court ordered that the Navy commander should make submissions to the court today. However, this did not transpire. The magistrate extended the overseas travel ban imposed on Dasanayaka and postponed further hearings to the 8th of July. Lieutenant Commander Sampath Munasinghe, Ranasinghe Arachige Hetiarachi and Ranasinghe Fedige Sumit Ranasinghe have also been banned from overseas travel in connection with this case. Incidentally, among them are the 3 sailors who are suspected of involvement in the 2006 assassination of MP Nadaraja Raviraj.
The respondent here is Sampath Munasinghe. He is in custody along with 2 others. He was sent to America for duty purposes and then he was brought back only to obtain information from him regarding their mistakes. Instead of mentioning their names and leaving the accused at large, they are trying to protect them and scapegoat DKP Dasanaika. We cannot understand why they are keeping the documents that we have requested for in writing in their files and are not saying anything. Since the suspects travelling abroad and remaining at large in this way is a further grievance for the aggrieved parties, and also because it hampers investigations, we made a request from court that the suspects be arrested and that investigations into them proceed.
We call on everyone to ensure that these parents receive justice in the case of their missing children, reveal where they are. If they are alive, then return them immediately. That is our request.
They were 16, 17 and 18 when they were abducted. We do not know whether they were even alive. The Attorney General Department is not cooperating with us at all. They are not assisting us. Please show us our children. I asked the court to return my son to me. If he is alive, I want to see him before I die. The NICs of the missing have been found in the Navy camp. It is the Navy that must respond to us. We have faith that they are still among the living. We hope that at least the new government will answer our questions.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapitiya ordered today that former Minister Rohita Bogalagama be banned from overseas travel. The order was issued when a petition filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption was taken up.
The petition presented by the Bribery Commission was filed under Section 70 of the Bribery Act. The petition states that Bogalagama had encouraged the former Director General of the Board of Investment, Lakshman R. Vatavala, to disburse 376,191 rupees and 1,170,444 rupees in violation of the Treasury Circular to participate in a trade expo in Britain. Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapitiya ordered that the former minister be released on bail set at 50,000 rupees and two sureties of 1 million rupees each.
I plead not guilty. I have the utmost respect for the court. As a senior lawyer, I must uphold the respect. The court will serve justice.
Meanwhile, a group of UPFA MPs lodged a complaint with the chairman of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today against the Director General of the Commission.
The current Director General of the Bribery and Corruption Commission is appointed on the Prime Minister's recommendation. We have reliable information that she obtained payment for legal advice from the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission while working at the Attorney General's Department. As far as we are aware, the establishment code states that a civil servant cannot obtain money this way. We have reasonable doubt regarding the examining of complaints at the Bribery Commission. When certain complaints are investigated immediately and others take years, and when there is an indication of bias on the part of one of the officials working here, we suspect whether inquiries are taking place correctly.
In a separate development, the Financial Crimes Investigation Division, or FCID, recorded a statement from Air Chief Marshal Donald Pereira, a former Air Force commander. He was questioned over losses that were incurred in the purchase of 4 MiG fighter jets in 2006 and in repairs carried out on other SLAF aircraft. The managing director of Ceylon Construction Private Limited was summoned to the commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today, and a statement was recorded from him. The statement was recorded in connection with the complaint lodged against the former chairman of the state-owned Lanka Phosphate Company.
We built a 12,000 square foot warehouse for Lanka Phosphate, and the former chairman, Jalia P. Kulasekara, harassed us, seeking 10 million as a commission. We refused, noting that we had not made such a profit, and he used the power of the former president to remove us arbitrarily without any written notice.
MP Vasudeva Nanayakkara, the leader of the Democratic Left Front, says that the Prime Minister, as the appointing authority, must take responsibility for the alleged treasury bond scam and make a statement himself. Speaking to Newsfirst, Nanayakkara reiterated that the government cannot delay taking action on the matter as the country's reputation is at stake.
It is not a small matter to be investigated quietly, but it needs to be rushed through in order to find out whatever happened and then take action accordingly. The transaction can be reversed. I believe the action cannot be delayed for more than another few weeks. I mean 1 or 2 weeks. Because our reputation is at stake. If we are not making things accountable here about whatever happened which are not in line with the ethics of the money market, then we have to prove that we are accountable and that we go into it and take the necessary action. The Prime Minister who handpicked this gentleman, Arjun Mahendra, has to take the responsibility. We cannot just gloss over it and say that this is a technical matter. I would go to the extent of saying the Prime Minister must make a statement already about himself and his relationship to this Arjun Mahendra. So to our handpicking to be the Governor of Central Bank and the committee appointed to go into it makes the matter worse.
At current interest rates, one company which holds approximately 5 billion rupees of that bond stands to make a unrealized gain of approximately 340 million rupees. The Governor of the Central Bank indicated a few days ago that the interest rates may come down to approximately 9%. If that happens, and when that happens, the very same company stands to make a gain of a significant 1.7 billion rupees. That's the people's money. Money the people and this country simply cannot afford. It's absolutely disgraceful that the Governor of the Central Bank, Arjuna Mahendran, is still enjoying a paid holiday after having admitted to his mistake, a mistake that has been directly responsible to the loss of rupees 35 billion. 35 billion rupees of the people's money has been lost. It really is time for Mr. Mahendran to go home for good.
In more local news, Minister Raj Senaratne revealed at a media briefing today that the Colombo Outer Ring Road project is being undertaken at 30 billion rupees less than the initial estimate.
30 billion rupees.
On what?
Right? Outer circulation.
This is for the Outer Ring Road. They are reducing our cost by 30 billion on a single project. This makes evident the scale of corruption that prevailed in Sri Lanka. They are holding rallies and getting busloads to come using this money. The first phase cost around 540 million per kilometer. The second phase cost around 900 million. The third phase cost around 4,000 million. The fourth phase cost around 5,000 million. I pointed this out in the run-up to the election. This is the amount they increased it by. Phase 4 and 5 are the worst. Nowhere in the world have they spent so much per kilometer.
Welcome back to the news. Still in local news this evening, Justice Minister Vijay Rajapaksa revealed today that 219 people arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act are still being held in remand custody. The minister was speaking at a discussion held at the ministry today on the day-to-day life of the people of the North and East.
The discussion was held at the Justice Ministry today with the participation of multi-faith religious leaders. The Justice Ministry says that the discussion was organized on the instructions of the President in order to promote reconciliation and reach suitable solutions to problems faced by people living in the North and East.
How many are in prison? How many have been remanded? How many are to be charged and produced in court?
There are 16 mates in remand custody into whom investigations are ongoing. There are 25 who are being held on detention orders under the Prevention of Terrorism Act into whom investigations are ongoing. The total number in remand custody at present is 219. There are 54 who have been charged, produced in court, sentenced and are now serving out their prison sentences.
I believe that these allegations are levelled from all over Sri Lanka and are not unique to the North and East. There are those who have been in remand custody for 10 to 15 years without trial. It is a crime. I wish to know at this instance whether there is no system in place to expedite their trials via court and issue verdicts. Isn't there a violation of human rights taking place for each day that they are detained?
A special high court has been established in Anuradhapura to expedite the trials, and that is already happening. There are also cases which have been filed at the Colombo High Court.
කොළඹ මහාධිකරණයේ මේ පිළිබඳව නඩු තියෙනවා.
පදිංචි කිරීමේ මේ කාරණය මුල් කරගෙන ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ පිළිබඳව.
In the last period of 2.5 months, we were in a position to release about 1,000 acres of land, which you all know, in 2 DS divisions, namely Telipalai DS division and Kopai DS division. The delay of the resettlement and giving the lands back is due to the position that we have to get the certificate to say there are no land mines. Now here we are handing back the lands that has been given or been used by the original owner. So we are not giving any lands that is not being owned by anyone else. So that must be clear. Then up to 25th of March 2015, 3 GN divisions and 280 families have already been resettled. Now at the moment in Jaffna, what has happened is if we have another about 2,000 acres of land, 2,000 to 3,000 acres of land, if they are released, the entire IDP problem will be solved.
ඉඩමක අවුරුදු 10ක් පදිංචි වෙලා හිටියොත්
When one has been residing on a plot of land for 10 years and then goes to court, their ownership is confirmed. It would be a problem when applying this to the north and east. Many of the lands have been captured. Look at how many Sri Lankan refugees are in India. It has been more than 20 years since they left. They come back and leave again because their lands and homes have been taken over by others.
A special procedure is in place. Nevertheless, even if it cannot be identified through that, if they state that they had ownership over some land, then there is a system in place at the Resettlement Ministry to provide them with lands.
නැවත පදිංචි කිරීමේ අමාත්‍යාංශයේ විසින් ඒ උදවියට වෙනත් විකල්ප ඉඩම් උනත් ලබා දීමේ ක්‍රමවේදයකුත් දැනට ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
Well, up next is Action TV.
These descendants of people who sought refuge in the dense forest of Uhana following the Uva-Wellassa rebellion of 1886 spoke to Action TV on the 20th of December last year on how they constructed this bridge.
The people of the village collected the rice they had to eat and the grain that was to be sold in order to build this bridge that is very valuable to us.
This bridge allows people from 32 villages to reach the Ampara-Uhana main road after travelling a short distance of 1.5 kilometers. If this bridge did not exist, the commuters would have had to travel 15 kilometers. While the bridge has been washed away by gushing waters of the Galloy on several occasions, when the spill gates of the Senanayaka Samudra are opened, it is notable that on every occasion it is the villagers who have come together to repair the bridge. The last time this bridge was damaged was in 2011. The people adopted a non-permanent solution to deal with the damage since the Road Development Authority had planned to build a proper bridge according to the 200 Bridges in Rural Areas project initiated in 2008. However, the consequences of these actions arose yesterday as the risks of traversing this bridge were made apparent.
අම්පාර දිගාමලු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ දයත කිරුල කියලා වැඩසටහන පැවැත්තුවා.
Dayata Kirula was organized in the Dimulagala district in Ampara where the plans of this bridge were put forward. Nothing was done since. In my opinion, this bridge, which is being used by so many people, could have been built with the money that was used for organizing Dayata Kirula. Dayata Kirula did nothing for us.
25කට වැඩිය සම්බන්ධීකරණය කරන මේ කෙටි මාර්ගයේ පාලම ඉදි කරන්න තිබ්බා.
The Road Development Authority had allocated more than 1 million rupees to produce a plan to construct a proper bridge in this area. This plan, however, was not approved due to technical errors when it was presented to the RDA's main office. Is it development when public funds are aimlessly thrown at failed architects while forcing residents of 32 villages to risk their lives on a daily basis? Chairman of the Road Development Authority, this is over to you.
In business news, the rate of increase in the general price level of goods, or better known as the inflation rate, has decreased to its lowest point during the month of March. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka reports that the inflation rate stood at 0.1% at the end of March.
The inflation rate based on the Consumer's Price Index and calculated by the Department of Census and Statistics according to the TOR calculation method reported that the rate stood at 0.6% in February. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka noted that the reduction of food prices has resulted in this 0.4% decrease during February and March. The CBSL added that the price reductions of vegetables, rice, wheat and bakery products was a highlight in this decrease. It further added that the reduction of gas prices and bus fares had also affected the inflation rate decrease. Meanwhile, in line with the interim budget, the Gazette notice for the price reduction of cement was issued today. Accordingly, the Consumers Affairs Authority states that the retail price of a 50-kilo bag of cement is 870 rupees.
Welcome back to the news. Minister Karu Jayasuriya says that the aim of the government is to build a society where mutual trust exists between people of all communities. The minister made this statement at an event held in Colombo yesterday.
The event was held at the BMICH in Colombo yesterday to launch 5 books penned by M. Satish Kumar. A specialty of the event was that the books had been written in English, Sinhalese and Tamil. I fondly remember Honorable Sirisena Kure. It was with the blessings of the late Ranasinghe Premadasa that I began my political journey. I was only a 19-year-old urban councillor from Ratnapura at that time. The foundation stone for my political career, from a member of the UMP's All-Ireland National Youth Front to becoming a member of the National Executive Council appointed by the party leader, was because of him.
We have high hopes for the future. Our hope is to build a society that is just and fair, to establish democracy. We also want to build national unity. In this endeavour, I see a gap where youth like Satish can join in to help our cause.
Minister Sajid Premadasa states that all politicians in this new political culture should be responsible enough to dedicate themselves towards public service instead of abusing their benefits. He made this statement attending an event in the Beliata area. Minister Sajid Premadasa officially opened the newly constructed shrine room at the Beliata Ratmal Katiya Parama Vishuddha Rama temple. Afterwards, the minister donated building equipment as a part of his Sasunata Aruna program.
Honestly, most of them in this country might not understand this view, out-of-the-box political recipe. But we must be aware when ruling a country that everything must be shared so that the responsibilities are fulfilled.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is due to address the American Chamber of Commerce in Sri Lanka on the 8th of April at a luncheon meeting. The meeting is titled The Prime Minister Speaks.
The Prime Minister's address will be followed by an interactive discussion with the participants on key issues of concern to the business community. This is incidentally the first time a Prime Minister will be addressing the AmCham membership in its 22-year history. The Executive Director of AmCham elaborated on the objectives of this event.
It is our view that in the aftermath of the January elections and with talk of a unitary government and constitutional reforms, etc., that the business community seeks clarity on the government's vision for both the private sector and the country as a whole. The business community and business chambers such as ourselves need a clear mandate in relation to the message that we take out to the international community looking to invest in Sri Lanka. We believe that consistency and clarity in policies is key for attracting the much needed FDI into the country. And it is in this context that we hope to have this event, the second in a series of such events.
And in sports news, Minister of Sports Navin Dissanayake today requested cricketer Kumar Sangakkara to rejoin the national cricket team. The minister made this request at a press conference convened to elaborate on the appointment of the SLC Interim Committee.
The Interim Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket commenced its duties this morning. Siddharth Vettamuni chairs the committee, which comprises of 9 members.
We are an independent and sovereign state. We have freedom to implement the Sports Act. We have appointed this committee to look into any fraud and corruption that may have taken place at SLC. Mahela Jayawardena and Kumar Sangakkara constantly had issues. As the Minister of Sports, I plead from Kumar Sangakkara to render his services to his motherland for another 1 year.
Journalists raised questions over the appointment of the former treasurer at SLC to the new interim committee.
නුස්කි මොහමඩ් මහත්තයා මම පත් කරේ මට විශ්වාසයක් තිබෙනවා එතුමා ගැන.
I appointed Nuskim Mohammed. I have faith in him. I feel that a member of the previous board needs to be included in this committee. When Hitler gave orders, the generals and brigadiers executed those orders. The orders are also an issue. Where did the orders come from? Who controlled SLC? Were there any invisible forces?
අනිසි හස්ත මොනවද? ඒවත් අපි බලන්න අවශ්‍යයි.
It was very clear. He said, I'll give you a good team. I'll give you a free hand, which he said a while ago, which I'm very happy about. But he said, you deliver and I'll hold you responsible. And he smiled. I'm sure what he would have meant was, if you don't deliver, I'll kick you out. And I'm very pleased to tell you that Mahela Jayawardena has agreed to come as an honorary consultant to support our cricket. He's very interested in youth cricket, school cricket, and infrastructure. He has the same passions as we have. I'm also delighted to say just yesterday, Murali, whom all of you know, also offered a helping hand anytime it was needed. So we do have the support of the cricket-loving public, I think.
Well, it's time for us to wrap up the news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Joel Armstrong.
And I'm Mahina Bongzo. Thank you for joining us. Take care and good night.